We could see music mogul Sean Diddy Combs in court this week for a status hearing. His attorney still working to appeal a judge's ruling denying Diddy bail. Denied it twice last week. The Bad Boy Records founder is being held by himself in a Brooklyn detention center, accused of running an enterprise of sex trafficking and forced labor. During a March raid, we all remember this, authorities discovered drugs, AR-15s, and an excessive amount of baby oil and lubricant inside of his home, 1,000 bottles of it. Former inmate and director and founder of Wall Street Prison Consultants, Larry Levine, joins me now. Larry, welcome to the show. Thanks for being with me.
Glad to be with you.
So this jail's conditions, have been described as dirty, notorious for mice, maggots, inmate violence, power outages. I mean, you spent 10 years in 11 different facilities, so you know what life is like for him right now. Take us behind the scenes.
I was also at MDC Los Angeles. It's like a cookie cutter of the MDC in New York. So yeah, I do know. But he's sitting in the shoe. He's in the hole. And this guy is going through loneliness, anxiety, desperation. He's on suicide watch, and they hand out like psych meds, like they're M&Ms to these inmates to try to get them to cope with what's going on.
Things are increasingly deteriorating for Diddy, and we're not just referring to the growing allegations and the incriminating evidence against him. You can hate him as much as you want, but Diddy's life behind bars is almost like a form of torture, and people are genuinely concerned for his well-being and safety. And here's the twist. Rumors are circulating that Jay-Z's investigation might be linked to all this turmoil. Are we about to witness a major celebrity fallout? Stay tuned, because this story continues to get more intense.
And hey, before we go, I would be remiss if I didn't address the allegations about Jay-Z at those city parties. No, man. No. Some people are afraid to talk about it, but not Mikey, the truth bomb Chase. So here it is. Jay-Z is innocent. He wasn't even at those parties, and I know because I was. And Diddy, if you're listening, we're bad boys for life. When it comes to the charges against you, I'll say the same thing I always said at your parties. I will help get you off.
You might recall that at one point, Diddy was even on suicide watch. Well, if you're familiar with the conditions of his life inside prison walls, it's easy to see why. In fact, the prison he's in, the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC for short, seems to be one of the most brutal places on earth. Imagine walking down the street outside the MDC and hearing the desperate cries of inmates banging on windows, screaming for help. That's how bad it really is. In the cold months, freezing prisoners complain about having no heat. And no, that's not an exaggeration. That's literally what it's like in there. Don't just take my word for it, though. Listen to what actual former inmates have said about it. Michael Cohen, a lawyer who also happened to be one of Donald Trump's former fixers, spent time in that same place. He described it as hell on earth. And regarding the food, during Diddy's recent court appearance, people were shocked to see how much weight the rap mogul had lost. Not only did he look skinny and malnourished, but according to worrying reports, Diddy appeared to have turned gray and looked noticeably older.
Okay, Larry, spill the tea. What are you hearing about Diddy's eating?
Well, I got an inside source there at MDC, and if they knew who it was, they'd really plot. When people go into custody, they have anxiety, they're depressed, a lot of things go through their mind, and one of the things they do is they stop eating. Look what happened to Jeff Epstein. I got people every day saying, you think they're going to Epstein him? And I go, well, I really don't know. Imagine if someone paid someone off on the inside to actually poison his food, give him a heart attack, and he dies. And no one would really think anything of it. So that may be one of the reasons he's not eating. There's a possibility that he wants to go on a kosher diet. It's prepared a little bit differently. It's a religious diet. that could be another aspect as well.
So what's really going on? Hold on, because this is pretty intense. According to multiple sources, Diddy is in desperate fear for his life. And get this, he's apparently paranoid that someone in prison might try to assault him. And honestly, given all the drama unfolding around him with new allegations and more celebrity names being exposed, it's not hard to see why Diddy might be scared. I mean, let's not forget what happened to Jeffrey Epstein. Sure, the reports say he took his own life, but come on, there's so many conspiracy theories around that. But let's stay focused and get back to Diddy. Yeah, apparently Diddy wanted to hire a personal chef, claiming it was for nutritional purposes, but it looks like that's not going to happen. He's not any more special than the other inmates just because he's rich. He'll have to eat the same food as everyone else. On top of that, hold on, it's not just the bad food that Diddy has to deal with. He's only allowed the most basic items, like a tracksuit and sneakers. And if he or anyone else tries to stockpile anything, there will be a prison raid. Diddy's facing the harsh reality of seeing only his fellow inmate, and it's even worse now that he's been given a cell to himself. He can't have visitors unless they've been approved by prison authorities. I mean, look at Diddy, who was used to having friends and family around without restrictions, now suffering the complete opposite. And here's the shocker, Diddy's phone calls are controlled. He can't make calls without them being monitored. But that's not all. Diddy is only allowed 300 minutes of phone time per month, excluding calls with his lawyers. This means if he wants to make calls for 30 minutes a day, he'll run out of phone time in just 10 days each month. People are saying if Diddy burns through his phone minutes in the first 10 days, he'll just sit there, trapped in his cell, and possibly suffer a mental breakdown. And talking about phones, there's also a lack of reliable Wi-Fi, adding to the challenges Diddy faces behind bars.
I'm not entertain none of this nonsense and nothing over the phone. I'm gonna need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes. The what? All the boxes left over from the pizza. All the boxes. Okay. Make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about.
So this is the first Diddy phone call that we're getting out of him being in jail. But Diddy, he's a terrible person. He's not stupid. This isn't Wade Wilson here. Look, you, me, my elderly Christian mother would even know that he's not actually talking about pizza boxes. That boy talking about them freak-off tapes. However, they're not going to be able to use that phone call in court and have it be substantial evidence. It's going to be circumstantial evidence at best. Diddy is using thinly veiled code to be able to communicate with one of his kids, but even that is enough to create reasonable doubt. Diddy's kids are stupid. Nobody should have to tell them to go get rid of that evidence, especially since they're probably in some of those tapes.
There's been a slight adjustment to Diddy's jail life, though. He's been given access to a Discovery laptop 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. The purpose of the laptop is to review Discovery materials, not to take or store notes. It's as if the court is saying, here's a laptop so you can stay updated on your case. Diddy's case involves a significant amount of digital evidence, hundreds of terabytes, and prosecutors believe that without proper access to this data, building a strong defense becomes much harder. Interestingly, criminal defense attorney Imran Ansari, who has represented other high-profile defendants like Harvey Weinstein and 50 Cent, discussed the psychological impact Diddy might be experiencing after such a dramatic lifestyle change, from mansions and red carpets to a cramped cell. He explained that it can be incredibly stressful and difficult to cope with, especially for someone like Diddy. While Diddy's attorney claims he's in good spirits, we all know that's far from the truth. Now it all makes sense why Diddy tried to go broke by offering a $50 million bail package instead of staying in jail. Unfortunately, his 4 attempts at bail have failed. While it's no longer news that Jay-Z is allegedly just as guilty as Diddy, everyone's wondering why Diddy is the only one facing the heat for crimes he didn't commit alone. Where are his accomplices?
People in the music and entertainment industry had to know that Diddy was like abusing kids, basically, and yet they still fed him kids.
Cat Williams is talking about it on that podcast.
But like, who's feeding him the kids?
And what videos do they have of these people when they're willing to keep quiet about all this? How many people were compromised?
After much investigation into the allegations against Diddy and Jay, it seems that Jay may just avoid prison this time around. But what about Diddy? Well, things aren't looking great for him at the moment, so stick with me as we dive deeper into the details. Diddy has found himself in even hotter water with all the allegations piling up against him, especially the ones involving Jay-Z. Amid all the harsh treatment Diddy's facing in prison, Jay-Z has been working hard to keep his head up while the investigation into his possible role as Diddy's accomplice continues. Now, it's come to light that the alleged victim, who goes by Jane Doe, has inconsistencies in her lawsuit. In fact, her father, who she claimed was aware of the incident that took place at the MTV VMA after-party in 2000, dropped a bombshell that changed the severity of her case. He said, "I feel like I would remember that and I don't. I have a lot going on, but I mean, that's something that would definitely stick in my mind." When Jane was asked about the contradictions in her lawsuit during her phone interview, she insisted that she stands by her statement. Despite the alleged victim's inconsistencies, the internet still hasn't been convinced that Jay-Z is innocent. For example, one user said, "I believe Jay-Z is definitely guilty. It's all going to come out in the wash soon, guys." Another person added, "Through the eyes of public opinion, both these men are guilty by association." But what do you all think? Is Jay-Z truly innocent and not an accomplice in Diddy's crimes? Or is he just trying to stay out of prison? I mean, prison life is no joke. Also, do you think Diddy deserves everything he's going through behind bars? Or would it be better if the judge granted him bail? Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments and stay tuned for fresh and exciting celebrity gossip content.